Welcome again to another Retro Obscura Plays. This time we're going to be covering a game by Data East. Again, an arcade game, a 1990 game called Trio the Punch. And Aaron, have you ever played this game?
No, was that the Shredder?
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of too. This guy looks like the Shredder.
Oh, and you didn't pick him. Man, who did you pick?
Don't worry. At some point during this play, I'll pick everybody. Because things happen, we can change. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of Data East parodies here going on. You can already see there's little Karnovs.
Yeah, I was like, was that Karnov?
It's definitely Karnov.
Are we gonna see the bad dudes? This was 1990, right? Oh, there's like lots of mini Karnovs. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, and you got this sort of like fat guy statue shooting those. See, I didn't know what I was doing here because I didn't quite get the game yet. Like, I was just sort of, I noticed you could just jump on things, and I thought, oh, this is easy, I'll just jump over him so they can't seem to harm him in any way. And he just shoots these strings of red fireballs out of his finger. And then I realized that the stage is looping.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what that was.
Big head mode.
Yes, I was...
This is a Japanese-only game, as I understand it, right?
I don't know. There was an English release, like a world release. I'm not sure what all territories this got, released in. But I chose the Japanese one because I figured I don't want to deal with any censorship or anything like that.
But this plays basically like Bad Dudes. I can tell it's kind of like a side-scrolling beat-em-up on a single plane.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is like a lotto between every level. And it sort of affects your stats. See there, my stats went down a little bit. It doesn't...
So is it telling you where you're going to go?
Now, see, it's in Japanese, so I couldn't really tell. It's all in Moon language.
Well...
Now, see, look at
this. You need
this.
to work on your Japanese, my friend.
What?
You're supposed to know these things.
See, Karnov's upside down, and you just punch him. And then that fist from Turrican appears. And again, I didn't quite know what to do here. And then I figured out when it landed, I could punch it.
Are we playing a game of pipe dreams here? Oh, wow.
I know.
Why?
That was the game over.
That was like a Venus de Milo kawaii version.
Yeah. I can't even begin to describe what they were thinking when Karnov just goes upside down. And
oh, I thought you said Boris Karloff.
I have been watching a lot of Boris Karloff lately. It is the season. See, I thought maybe jumping on the fist would keep me safe from its poundings, but then you can't get in the position, and right before it lands, you sort of fall through the fist anyway and take damage. I'm not sure what the pipes are there for. I realize they're there to present sort of a barrier in positioning, so it makes it a little more...
Saudi Arabia and their pipeline of oil.
I love this man's, like, pose. See, there's my sub up.
Oh, yeah, it's like the G.I. Joe face.
Now, see, the sub is when he got that big head, that was sort of one of the screen-clearing attacks that goes up.
Is every enemy Karnov in this game?
In the first area, it's definitely based on Karnov, it looks a little bit. Like, there's some different themes that you'll see as we go through the game. And in this first area is sort of that mythology style that Karnov is famous for. Erupting volcanoes and these little red skeletons. Not the comedian Red Skeleton, but Red Skeleton. But they seem to crawl on the ground. As you can see, the rounds are pretty short, but there's a lot of them. See, there's my main up, and that will give me a more powerful main attack. Next stage. See there.
You're in the forest, and you're holding a air tank for some reason.
That's the upgrade to my main attack, and each character has its own different upgrades. Now, see, what I found out in this level was really the object is to collect those little hearts that say help. You'd think they would replenish your health, but they don't. What that is once you collect all of those, when you collect one, that little meter on the bottom right will start to go down. And once it goes down all the way, the boss character or characters that you're attempting to defeat will appear, and you can defeat them and move to the next round. So really, it's not about progressing through the stage as much as it is about it's sort of like an arena platformer, if you can get that.
So, an arena platformer, that's interesting.
Yeah, because the
Is there
stages
any
will
game
just loop.
quite like this?
I want to say like Legend of Kage. It's a little bit like this, where I mean, it had something more to do with the amount of enemies you defeated, and then the boss.
Oh, instead of getting from point A to point B.
Right, right. Now, see, in this one, the boss character are these two little pudgy dragons. As you can see, the stages just loop, and I got tired of waiting around and just use my special attack.
Well, there was an RPG much later on the PS2 called Odin Sphere, and I remember that game had those spherical stages that you'd play through in the game, and so each area of the game, it was kind of like a beat 'em up RPG. Each area of the game was like a circular loop, kind of interesting thing that would loop on itself. Same kind of deal where it would give you like a map of all the enemies on the screen that you had to go defeat.
Now, see here, this mother sheep is firing her children away at you, and I found that she was pretty easy to defeat. As you can kind of just whack the little sheep that come out, and kind of whack away, and she dies. But she does return in a kind of an interesting way in a little bit, you'll see.
That's the best pose ever.
Wait till you see some of the other characters. Now see, that number 6 is change, and when it lands on that, that's when you're actually forced to change characters. Or it gives you the opportunity to, at least. See, you turn into the sheep.
What?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's some kind of curse or what.
It's like Mega Man? Did you just acquire the abilities of the sheep and thus you turn into the sheep? Or is that a ram? Is that a sheep or a ram? It looks like a horn.
I guess maybe it's a ram, a really fluffy ram, but it made this stage really easy, as you can see. You just keep firing the sheep out, and everything just sort of dies.
You know, it's totally going against its motherly instincts right now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know when the last time I've seen a pink ram is. But, oh, here we have the boss. It's a totem pole.
What is this? Let's try to describe these things one by one. I think that's a chess piece on top.
It's definitely
Yeah.
There's that.
Oh, I couldn't even describe the rest of it.
That's how easy the sheep makes it, and I think it was supposed to make it harder. Now see, here's my first change. It's allowing me to change characters, and I wanted to try them all out. So, let's see, who did I pick next? I think I picked the sword guy.
Sword guy. Guy of swords. And he's got a flame on his sword, I guess.
It looks like a chicken leg, but I think it's a flame.
Oh, poor Karnov.
I think that's the lotto guy.
Oh, wow.
And I died, of course. See, your health doesn't replenish between levels, so dying is really the only way to get ahead. And it's a quarter eater, that's the way they are. Now he's just minding his own business, trying to blow his fireballs over a turtle shell, like Karnov does, and you just come up and kill him, and this guy happens.
I wish I knew someone who could tell us those random characters he's throwing out at you.
Well, I've seen an English translation, and like I said, it might have been released in the UK, because it had a world translation in the ROM, and I believe he was saying "ouch" in that translation.
Okay. I'll believe you for now.
Here we have Scuba Karnovs.
This is endlessly amusing to me. I don't know why.
And it just gets better as you go.
Did you play Karnov on the NES at all? Or in the arcade?
Oh,
it was in the arcade, right?
Yeah, it was in the arcade. I own the NES part, and I
remember.
I liked the game. It had some bizarre enemies.
Yeah, and Data East really wasn't that well known for good arcade ports on the NES, especially early on. But they got better as time went on.
Yeah, I mean, I can enjoy them. See, this guy here reminds me a lot of...
Wow!
Yeah. Just when you thought Puli Rula was weird.
There comes your Uncle Frank over for dinner.
Now, see, this game, you can probably tell, but have you ever played the game Roston?
Yeah, I played Roston.
This character plays a lot like that. Like just the way it feels with his sword swings and the way he moves and jumps. And I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
I could totally see that.
who made Roston? Was that Data East? I don't think it was.
No, I thought it was Taito.
Because it just feels an awful lot like that. And I was wondering if maybe they were referencing it, but if it was Taito, then I guess they weren't. Maybe, well, they could have been poking fun of the competitor, too. Let's see, here's the enemy. Sometimes it's sort of boring. The enemies, they range between mildly interesting to really kind of bizarre, and then to these boring, like palette-swapped versions of the regular enemies. Now see, the most interesting about this is the homecoming queen, or the beauty queens riding the carnivorous fish.
Oh, that's a woman! Okay, I did not catch that at first.
She's
but
wearing
now
a
I can totally
pink
see
dress,
that.
and she has a crown. What did you think
In
it was?
assets, I thought it was a man riding a fish.
It's not even that they're riding the fish, they're sort of melded to the fish. I got one of them.
You know, what does he wear? Is that like a pouch in his crotch area?
It's a fanny pack, except for it's in the... Oh, wait. Wow.
What is it?
I just took a good look when you said that and noticed it. He's kind of well endowed.
That's right.
And it's very graphic. Like, I wonder if that was the same way.
Okay, stay put. Stay put. Oh, you just won't stay put, will you?
This is actually quite comical. If you
Yeah, you're absolutely right. At first, okay, I see the fanny pack, and then I see his tights, or whatever you call it. His
It's shades of David Bowie and Leather.
Yeah.
It's very Jareth.
Jump, magic, jump.
That's the second time in this series that we've mentioned Labyrinth. In the last one, it was the MC Escher thing that reminded me of the end of Labyrinth. And here we have poor Karnov just trying to blow you up so bad.
I love that, how he's setting these bombs and he's covering his ears as he kind of walks away.
And then he second guesses himself. It's like, I better go check on that bomb to really make sure it's going to blow up by getting your face straight down in it.
I like the death animation though. It's so creepy, like their souls kind of pop out.
Yeah, it reminds me of another game, but I just can't think of what it is. Now see, here's the
souls? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Here's the hand again. This
Does that
time,
mean you have 25 seconds left to beat the boss?
Yes, when the boss appears, you are on a time limit. So,
okay.
I haven't let it run out. And a couple of these levels, it takes me a few tries to get through. And some of them are just cheap. This one's not, I just have to kind of figure out to leave Karnov alone and let him blow himself up. And the music, however, if you've noticed, very repetitive. It never changes from the beginning to the end. It's always that same jaunty tune.
It's not bad, but yeah, I could see where that could get tiring after a while.
Oh, for sure. I know I made it, and you'll see, I made it to almost the 40th round, and the music never changed. And by that point, I was just sort of done with it.
Hope you didn't have the music too loud while we're recording this.
Oh no, I have I have it turned down. I want people to listen. The sound effects aren't anything to write home about either.
It's like a bunch of yo.
Yeah. It's very much, I think this came out around the same time as Bad Dudes, I want to say.
Oh, this was 1990. I want to say Bad Dudes was like 87 or 88. Because it was President Ronnie. And then on the NES version, it was President Bush.
That's right. So, yeah, Bad Dudes must have been a little earlier, because we had Bush Sr. in office at this time in the United States of America.
You know, US of A, which is where we are.
Now they're going to find us.
You can tell by our accents.
Yeah, sometimes accents are deceiving. Like, you wouldn't know that Aaron was a Texan.
I know. It's because I don't talk like this all the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't know it for myself.
Yeehaw, partner. So we need to play a cowboy themed game, that's what. I tell you what.
Tell you what. Now here, yeah, it is what it is. It's a foot.
Oh, I know we're in ancient Greece now, because there's some. This is like the statue from the background of the Sagat stage in Street Fighter 2 has come to life.
This is where we got the inspiration for God of War, folks.
Oh, that's right. This is in God of War. Something like this is in God of War, if I remember right.
I'm
or God
curious
of War
to
2,
know,
maybe.
what is Hero Sunoshi? It's written on his flip-flop. And I don't even know. I don't know why we were shrunken down and given a flaming projectile. But this, when I was playing this, it reminds me a lot of the end of Super Mario Bros. 3 for obvious reasons. He gives a little death animation as a little guy. I don't think I ever once landed on 1. So here's this sort of reminds me a lot of Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts.
Oh yeah, I can see that. But with a skyline in the background for some reason.
Well, I mean, even big cities have cemeteries.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't know that this game was suddenly in the present or the future.
Yeah, it goes
It defies time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it runs the gamut for no logical reason. I love the stylish suits that these zombies wear. They're sort of the Prince thing going on here. Or maybe a Joker from the Tim Burton Batman. And these guys, you know what they remind me of? Have you ever seen Poltergeist 2, The Other Side?
I have not.
Oh, that's an amazing horror movie. Not as good as the first one, but I really liked it. And it had a lot of imagery, like these sort of Geiger style monstrosities that featured very prominently in Poltergeist 2, especially when they went to the other side. Basically, the storyline of Poltergeist 2 is the family from the original Poltergeist. I'm sure you've seen that, right? You've seen Poltergeist.
Yeah, not since I was a kid, though. It gave me nightmares.
No, that's a scary movie. But in the second one, at the end of that movie, their house disappears, and they rescue Carol Ann from the TV ghosts, and they try to start a new life. They go out and they live with, I believe it's the mother's mother, so the grandma, and she dies. And for some reason, that draws these poltergeists back to Carol Ann, and they find her, and she gives the catchphrase, "They're back." Much like in the original, she says they're here. And they're trying to take Carol Ann to help them lead them into the light. So the plot of it is really actually really good. There's a Native American fellow that helps him out.
There's always a Native American fellow.
It's a helpful Native American that knows. Well, they know a lot about the spirit world, right? So
Yeah, or it's Pet Cemetery. You don't want to mess with their ancient burial ground.
Right, and so he knows what's going on, and helps them out. And of course, they end up going to the other side of the spirit world. And in that spirit world, you're not just seeing floating chainsaws and like ghosties and stuff like that happen in the movie, but you're seeing the spirit world and what these things actually look like. And just like those zombies in the previous level, they're very terrifying. And there's one that it looks just like that. It's sort of a gnarly totem of mangled faces. And it gave me a lot of nightmares too, especially in Poltergeist 2. There's this amazing character named Reverend Cain, and he was an old-timey Southern Protestant preacher that he predicted the end of the world and got this small group of followers to sort of barricade themselves in this cave. And they're the people that are lost. They're lost souls that had good intent, but they somehow got stuck on their way to the afterlife. And he appears throughout the movie, and he's just this creepy old man with a black hat and a black suit and a bandolier tie, and he sings that old hymn, "God is in his holy temple," everywhere he goes, and he is absolutely frightening. So in the spirit
I
of
remember this character. Yeah.
in the spirit of Halloween, it's a good movie to watch. And back to the game.
Yes, back to the game. We missed the dude with the improbably large mallet. Like, it was much bigger than the guy holding it.
And it looked like it was made out of steel. Yes. Now here you can see the bad dude's influence. You can tell they were sort of self-parodying in a lot of ways. Like, you can tell here that's definitely a bad dude style bad guy, or maybe a Double Dragon.
Yo,
yo.
Oh, and these
oh, there he is again.
Yeah, he's back for more.
Yeah, a lot of the enemies repeat, but it makes it worth it just because every once in a while there's that one that makes you just say, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Now this I think...
I can't believe it's not butter. Spray.
Okay. Okay, Fabio. Now here's the thing. Now the zombies are riding little scooters.
Okay, this is just funny now. I can't take this seriously at all. We're at a carnival now, and the zombies are just, yeah. Oh, they're part of the amusement, I guess.
Kawaii!
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if at some point in this game we would see Spaceship Warlock.
I could only wish.
That would make this game good. I'll be honest with you, it's not unfun. I'm not saying it's a fun game to play, but it's not...
Is it 2-player?
You know, I don't know. It doesn't look like there's space on the interface for another player. The way it has the energy and the enemy's energy laid out. I'm thinking it's probably not. It might be more fun. It did get really repetitive, but there's something just satisfying about walking forward and just hacking away at things. It felt a lot like playing Bad Dudes in a way, because that's sort of what Bad Dudes was like. You just kind of walked and punched away.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and of course this must be in the U.S. because there's alligators in the sewers, and we all know. If movies have taught me anything, it's that alligators get flushed down the toilet when they get too big. And I've heard about this actually happening. And being in the pet industry for a while, it kind of made me sick to know that people do it. They get these cats, they either catch them or they buy them in the black market, these little baby cute alligators. And, you know, I'll admit, I think they're cute too. But of course, we know alligators get large and start eating, you know, other family pets and perhaps children. So when they get a little bit too big, they flush them down the toilet. And I'm not sure that they live. In fact, I'm almost positive that they don't. But the rumor is, and I think it's been done in a couple of American B movies. In fact, I know it has been because I've seen a few of them where the alligators grow to astronomically large sizes and wreak havoc. They come out of the sewers and just start attacking people. So I guess there's a little bit of realism here. People actually do flush them.
I was reading something here about the director of this game, whose name was oh shoot, what was his name? Oh, I thought I had it. But it's the same guy who worked on Karnov, and he also worked on another game called Chelnov around the same time this game was made. And if you remember, I think we almost covered Chelnov on our podcast. It was called Atomic Runner. Remember Atomic Runner?
Yes, I love Atomic Runner. I have that game on my Sega Genesis, and I really like it.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, and you know what? Yeah. So that game was released about 88, and let's see, this game was 1990, and then of course Karnov was about 87. Yeah, so I can see how they could call it a trio of games. Trio the punch.
Well, I don't know where the punch comes from, except for the one character that actually punches. But trio, I mean, I would assume that's because there's 3 characters, and I'm not sure where the story is. Now here's this guy. Now, does he look familiar to you at all? Maybe does it make you hungry for some tasty fried chicken?
I can see that. Oh, you know what?
Look at this. This chicken comes out of his head, and there's no question in my mind who they were going after.
And how did you turn into a miniature? When did that happen?
I don't know. It just happens at random
Okay,
times.
so I just read Chelnov, the Atomic Runner guy. He actually makes an appearance in this game too. He's the guy holding the giant mallet.
Oh. You know what? That's right, because in Atomic Runner you can get that weapon that you can smack things with. Now see here, I picked the Shredder guy, and he really stinks. And
he looks like he kind of stinks. He how do you even run like that? Like that's like Michael Jackson levels of leaning forward.
The thing about him is that sub-weapon there, that is the best one out of the 3. It kind of bounces all over the screen and hits everything, but his reach is really limited, and he seems to take a lot of damage, and for some reason he stops for like a split second before it takes a while for him to slash, and it leads to a lot of hits. But if you notice something interesting about him, what happens when he gets hit?
Turns into a wood block.
Turns into like a log, but he's still wearing his robes. Now see, it didn't take me long to die there.
Can you do the log song?
What rolls downstairs was better in pairs, rolls over your neighbor's dog. What sits on your back and is great for a snack, it's log, 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 log.
I love it. Oh man, how can he, how does he not have foot problems right now? Seriously.
He's just sort of running on his tiptoes.
Yeah, well, the angle of his body to the ground, that's not how gravity works, my friend. I'm sorry.
He's a ninja, man. Ninjas can do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, a ninja could kill you right now, and you wouldn't even see him coming. Aaron?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought the ninjas
I'm still here. Don't worry. I wasn't killed by the ninja. No, he could literally, take a piece. He could take just a little hair off your eyebrow and blow it at you, and you explode. I'm serious.
Right, I know. And the most interesting thing, other than the fact that he turns into a log, is that the log is still wearing his clothes.
You're absolutely right.
And see, that's what makes him stink, is when you get hit, look at all that, count the recovery time between the time he takes a hit. Oh, okay, that's a death. That's a long recovery time. But
see, it's like the Incredible Hulk. Whenever Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk, he's still wearing the same clothes.
Right, but that's what makes this character so infuriating to play, because look, you get hit, you turn to the log, you wait for the puff of smoke, and by that point there's another enemy on top of you waiting to hit you again. And I could not wait to change this character.
Yeah.
And unfortunately you can't do it.
It caused me to walk away from the game. It's so fast.
When you die, you can't change back. You have to wait until that lottery lands on 6. And you can't get to the lottery unless you complete the level. And I almost quit playing here, but I didn't.
Now, what's the likelihood of, if you had seen this game in the arcade back in the late 80s, early 90s or in 1990 when it came out, that you would have actually sat there and played it for a while?
Continually putting money into it? I never would have. No, by the third quarter I would have walked away. You
would have realized there's no point.
but see, now we have emulators in infinite quarters, and
we know about this thing called kusoge, which is Japanese for
poopy game.
Yeah, crap.
And
terrible crap.
I think
but we love it.
Now there's a technique coming up, and it's in this level. You see those characters going across the top of the screen. There's a story behind that. You notice that everything freezes once it gets all the way to the end. Now let me see if I can get the story on this so I get it right. This is something called, it's the meaningless Durumesen ga Coronada. And basically what that means is, I think the translation for that is, let me look it up, is
treat your mother right.
It's the Duramaw doll fell down. I'm assuming that doll there is a Duramaw doll. But basically when it falls down and it counts all the way down, it just stops everything, and it's there purposely, and all the other objects stop moving too. So there's no change, other than the fact that it wastes the time. And it sort of reminded me of, what's that game that the Japanese comedian did? It was for the NES. That was just full of things that would make you not want to play it anymore.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's the one where you're constantly trying to kill yourself.
Right, and I mean, there's parts in it where you pretty much just have to leave the controller sit for like an hour, and listen to this terrible music, and just things like that. It's a terrible game. Here we have, this reminded me of The Legend of Kage 2 a little bit. This sort of bamboo forest. The ninjas turn into these cobras and strike at you.
I can't remember the name of that. Game. What is that game called? Oh, there it is. It was Takeshi's Challenge.
That's what it is.
Takeshi no Chosenjo, however you pronounce it. Where you're just supposed to get drunk out of your mind and kill yourself.
Yeah, that's the game. It was like almost... I don't even want to call it Kosoge because it's basically the anti-game.
Yeah.
Everything but enjoyable by design.
Yeah, so you can't really fault it for being terrible when it's supposed to be terrible on purpose.
And I'm wondering if this was supposed to be terrible on purpose. Because mind you, it doesn't have many redeeming qualities. But again, I'm easy to please, and just hacking away at stuff, waiting to see what bizarre enemy I'm gonna run up against next.
Yeah. It
was enough to keep me going as long as I wasn't paying for it. And so I wasn't paying for this.
I had one other thing to say about Takeshi, or it was Takeshi Kitano. So do you remember a show that was on Spike TV called Most Extreme Elimination?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was based on footage from a show called Takeshi's Castle. And Takeshi is the same Takeshi we were talking about earlier.
Huh.
Funny enough. So that show, he was the host of that show, so we've probably seen him before. And it only ran from 86 to 1990, so very high chance that you'd recognize him if you saw him.
That's interesting. I remember that show.
Oh, not as interesting as this. Wow.
It's a lucky cat. It's a staple of Japanese games.
And, you know, that... Someone return it to its owner, because it's got a leash on it.
Yeah, he's not very lucky.
Like a collar.
Oh, see, finally I get to change.
Change. All right.
I'm going to go back to the sword guy.
You got the Shredder.
Yeah, the sword
guy. What about
guy,
backwards baseball cap wearing guy? Were you already him early? Was that
he was the one I started out as, yeah.
He was kind of weak sauce too.
But he was all right. He at least didn't have that horrible recovery time from being hit. Now here we go.
At least he knows how to walk.
With this doll falling.
Oh, this is kind of like one of those Russian. Yeah, it was an egg doll thing.
It was what I was just talking about. The Japanese doll, the Durama doll.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, that phrase up there just translates to the Durama doll fell down. It has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't benefit the enemies. It doesn't benefit you. It just happens repeatedly until you beat it. The interesting thing, the Durama doll, also known as the Dharma doll, is a hollow, round Japanese traditional doll modeled after Bodhidharma, the founder of Zen sect of Buddhism. These dolls are typically red and depicting a bearded man, which is Dharma, and they are considered an omacha, meaning toy. And it's a symbol of...
I love useless knowledge. Yeah. It's great.
It's a symbol of luck to the Japanese. And it's been commercialized by many Buddhist temples to use alongside goal setting.
That'll help you the next time I'm on Jeopardy and they ask me.
The next time?
Alex, you're back. Yeah, the next time, because I've been on there a few times.
I don't know if you could ever beat what's her name? Perez, Rosie Perez from White Men Can't Jump.
Rosie Perez was on the show. On a celebrity version or what?
No, she wasn't. It was on the movie White Men Can't Jump. She wanted to be the winner of Jeopardy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And she'd always be like, "Why you
Good
gotta
one.
be so stupid, Billy? Why you be so stupid?" She was a terrible type of Puerto Rican women.
But she was Puerto Rican, so yeah, I
Yes.
can see that.
Why you be so stupid, Billy? So the game, it's repetitive. But at least the theme of the levels changes every few levels.
Yeah, I mean, I could see having some enjoyment out of this game and just seeing some of the random enemies popping out.
What other
But it's
game
one of
are you
those-
going to be able to fight a exploding Colonel Sanders that has a crazy chicken that comes out of his head and throws drumsticks at you? I can't think of... Okay, maybe I can think of like 4 or 5 other games. But this is one of them.
That's right, and we're watching you play it right now.
Oh, this level is so infuriating.
Oh no, is this a vertical level? Why?
It's not just that. Now take note of what happens when those hooks actually hit your character. See, it just continually will do damage, and there's little to no invulnerability time. Unlike the Shredder character that turns into this invulnerable log, and it really makes climbing up this level frustrating.
No, it's like a Contra level or like a I'm trying to think of another game that does this to us.
And of course, there's only one way up there, and they place this guy with his hook right there.
Well, that helps right there. Just use your attack on everything.
Right. Until you get to the top. Now see,
Oh no!
the next try, I'll get it.
You know, you only got you put in about what 20 quarters? Jeez.
Oh, probably more than that. I don't know.
40 quarters?
Maybe 40. Maybe I didn't get it on this try either. No.
I never wanted to be the kid that put 20 or 40 quarters into a bad game at the arcade.
Not a
Then
bad
you were
game.
stuck there.
Now see, there was a time, there was only really one time that I put a lot of money into an arcade game as a child. And that was when I got really into shoot 'em ups. As you know, I still love shoot 'em ups. And you got to go into a shoot 'em up knowing you're going to put a lot of money into it in the arcade. It's just a given. It doesn't matter how good you are. So I remember one of the Raiden games came out. Great shoot 'em ups, classic
Hey.
shoot 'em ups.
That seems like a great time to mention that Raiden 2 is now playable on MAME, and 10 Pence Arcade just covered it in their latest show. Go check it out.
Awesome, yeah. Check out 10 Pence Arcade. There are butts over there. But yeah, it was a Raiden game, and I remember 2 friends and myself all saved up allowance money until we got probably around $25. And we went to the local mini mart that had Raiden there, and just walk up to the counter and say, "Can we have $25 in quarters?" And we were local, so the owners of the store, they knew us pretty well. It was also where we rented all of our games and got our sodas and chips and things like that, because it was a block away from our house, so we were regulars there. So they got a couple of rolls of quarters out for us, and we just sat there taking turns until we got all the way through Raiden. I can't remember which version it was, but that was the only time I think we ever sunk any kind of real money into a game. Other than a couple of times we put maybe $5 or $6 into like TMNT, the arcade game, or X-Men, the arcade game, just to keep us all playing, because those kind of games were worth it too. But
Oh yeah, and then someone can jump in when someone else dies.
Right, and keep the game going. And that's what you really wanted to do in those games, is you get far enough, you just kind of want to keep the game going to finish it. So the people that are playing by the end usually aren't the same guys that started up playing the game. They might have left with their parents or whatever, but I got to see the later levels of those games quite a bit. Now this game, anybody that was putting that much money into this game was either very limited to the amount of games they could play. Like maybe this was like in their local gas station, like Raiden I was just talking about, and this was the only game there. Even so, I would say just go across the counter and rent Spelunker for the NES.
Yeah. No, please do. No, okay, so I remember going to the laundromat and they had a copy of Mock Rider in the arcade. And if you ever played that on NES, that is not a great game.
It's not great. No, it's no hang-up.
No,
that's for sure.
No, it just wasn't that fun to me. But it was funny that they had it there in the arcade, and it just. And I think it was the Versus version of the game. I don't think there was an arcade game.
No, there wasn't. I think it was probably just the Versus one. Why would they bother putting that in a Versus?
That was just a weak game. I would have rather of us had gotten Devil World, a much better game than getting Mock Rider on the NES.
It was neat being able to play some of those Versus games because a lot of them were only released on the Famicom, and we didn't get to play them here. Like I remember sinking quite a few hours.
Like Goonies, right? The first Goonies was a Versus game.
How did you know what I was gonna say? That one.
I don't know. I have that ESPN, I guess.
ESPN. Yeah. The original Goonies game was a game that Paul would probably like. It's sort of I mean, it does scroll a little bit, but it's really kind of that same sort of puzzle platformer, you know, collect the keys and the bombs and go to the next screen kind of game. It was really fun. I loved that game, and I could have liked the Goonies 2 for the NES because it really did a lot of things right. It had great music, great graphics, and it really was an interesting game. It was just too cryptic. And
that map system just stunk. I don't like games that have like they're 2D games with a 3D map system.
Yeah, it was another one of those. Like
Spelunker
2 had that sort of front and back. That's how good.
Yeah, or like Rambo or Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, Friday the 13th.
Just frustrating map systems where it's just like, whoever designed this wanted to torture us as kids.
And it wasn't so bad in games like Rambo or Friday the 13th. I mean, there was other things to complain about with those games. But the games also weren't as large as Goonies 2. Goonies 2 really would have benefited from either a better map or maybe just no map at all. A strategy guide would have been good.
Yeah, I liked running into that mermaid girl though. That was always nice.
Oh, it was nice. I love like punching the guys and having them say, "Ow, what do you do?" Now here, of course, now we're in the future.
Hey, we are in the future. We've gone to the past, present, and now the future. And now we're in the Technodrome. No, I don't know where we are.
Looks like Metal Gear would be back there somewhere.
Yeah, Metal Gear is just gonna pop out.
No, Metal Gear.
But you know what?
This.
Oh yeah.
Actually, Metal Gear did appear as a cameo in a couple of weird games. I want to say.
Well, it's a cameo in, of course, Snatcher. He was
that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, he was the little companion guy.
Yeah, your sidekick, and he talked, and it was great.
And of course, even in the future, the slimes wear armor.
Oh yeah, you need to have a slime with armor, though I don't know how that works exactly.
He's got to protect his vital organs.
You know, it looks like your character's wearing like a codpiece, or it almost looks like he's got a kidney bean shoved down the pants.
A little bit bigger than a kidney bean.
Yeah, maybe.
I swear I didn't keep picking the sword guy because of his package.
I just can't. I don't. You know when there's not much else to focus on the game, and you're just like, whoa, dude, just.
Well, when you're playing it, you're focused on playing the game. I wasn't paying any attention to that. I was just like, oh, I like the guy with the sword, and now I can't stop. Forget about the baby. I can't stop picturing. He's like a barbarian version of Jareth from Labyrinth.
So it's funny, are these hearts actually telling you to help them? Help me. Help.
I don't know, because the rest of the game is in Japanese, and it definitely says help in English. But like I said, the only purpose of those hearts, they're not there to actually help you. Like, they look like they should give you help, but see, as I gathered that heart, it disappeared on the bottom of the screen. So it just counts down to when the boss enemy comes out, and that's what's happening here. This red enemy is the boss.
Maybe you can answer this, or maybe this is just kind of one of those thinking questions. So why is it that in some Japanese games like this, a lot of Japanese games, they'll have some English, like you've got enemy at the bottom of the screen here, or sometimes you'll see something that says boss, And then the rest was in Japanese. Could you imagine playing an American game where most of it was in English and then like the important stuff was all in Japanese? Oh, I just don't get it. Maybe
And
it's
that
because
is
they're
the
English
end.
words.
That's about
That's
as
the end
far
of the
as
game.
that's as far as I wanted to go.
Oh man, we didn't get to see the ending.
Oh darn. Well, thank you for watching it again for Retro Obscura Plays. We will see you next time.